What is going on, guys? Today I bring you round 3 of my Chess Open 2025. This was a crazy game, and my opponent was even P. Bish. Crazy name, very nice, very cool. It was 1700, had the white pieces, and let's see how the game went. So I started with c4 as usual. Also, if you notice, I kind of added back the sound in a different way, so I'm just experimenting things at this point. E5 by my opponent, g3, knight c6, bishop g2, bishop c5, knight c3, and now the first twist of the game, knight g on e7. I didn't know this move. The main move is knight f3, which is very common for these positions, but knight g on e7 is actually the first time I saw it. I didn't remember analyzing this, so I decided to play a bit in the same way that I played against knight f6, e3, d6 by my opponent, knight g on e2, bishop b6, and yeah, in these positions, there's always the question, like, when do you even strike with d4? Because sometimes the problem with these positions is that, like, this center looks very strong, but sometimes, you can get pinned, and then things start getting a little awkward. Defending this pawn because like knight f5 comes and stuff like that. So it's always like a bit of like a question: should I push d4 now? Should I wait? And yeah, I decided to just wait a bit, a3, because sometimes I play these positions with the black pieces, and I feel like even if my opponent doesn't do anything direct or concrete at the start, like, I feel like black always feels very cramped, and it's very hard to play with such little space and the pieces, you know, kind of blocking each other, especially this bishop that gets outside the pawn chain but gets harassed so much, and you have to do so much stuff to keep it alive, and to not get it trapped. So a3, just a useful waiting move, preparing before. E5 by my opponent makes a lot of sense. I castle, he castles, and now I play rook b1. Another move, waiting move, which prepares before again. And I wasn't too worried about bishop f5, and even though the computer likes it a lot, I just was like d3 and everything is fine and stuff like that. Though after queen e7, the computer says that black is like equalized, and yeah, you can see why. I mean, like, if he trades off this bishop, my king gets a little bit weaker, maybe even plays f5 later on and starts a kingside attack. It can be dangerous, but my opponent decided to go for bishop e6 instead, targeting this c4 pawn. And instead of playing d3, because I played e3 and I wanted to play d4, I decided to jump with a knight on d5, which is completely fine. My opponent moves the bishop away. Of course, he can't capture with the knight because I would fork these two pieces, and capturing with the bishop gives up the bishop pair, and it's definitely a very risky decision. So okay, bishop a7 makes sense, and now I finally strike with b4, takes. And now my opponent makes actually this move that was a bit shocking to me. I was like, this can't be good, because he gives up the bishop, but then he has to waste time with this knight rerouting it. And I feel like this pawn is a strength. It's actually strong and not a weakness at all. So yeah, I was happy to see this. I struck with d4 finally. I feel like the position is ready to open up, and I do want to utilize my bishop pair here with an open position. So my opponent plays knight d7, and here I play bishop e2, developing the last minor piece and preparing the bishop to be ready to fight for this diagonal. My opponent plays knight g6, and here I make a very rash decision. I play h4, and this move looks very fighting, very nice, very aggressive, but we'll see later on that this maybe could have been um avoid it. This looks very good. I have to be honest, I was feeling very confident. I felt like I was just gonna crush my opponent because I was just playing really well this tournament, and I felt like the position was just fantastic. NH4 is not a bad move, but I didn't have to go into these like crazy ideas with h4 h5, especially because I knew after h4 what my opponent would do, which would be f5, and now everything is like insane. The game starts going from very like strategic positional to just chaotic. But yeah, here uh, what I'm saying is that I could just simply take on e5, open this bishop up, and now there's no real like pleasant way for my. To capture, if he captures with this knight, just play queen c2 for example, and I can just move the f rook to the c file, pressure c7. I have the nice d4 square for my pieces, for my knight or for my bishop, and yeah, everything is fine. I don't see how black is gonna create counterplay anytime soon. So yeah, this would be very very pleasant. The same goes if black took with the other knight. If he takes with the pawn, even like d6 can actually be a very unpleasant move to face. But yeah, I decided to go h4. I was like, okay, let's kick this knight, just gain more space h5. But now after f5 things get crazy, and yeah, I just go for h5, knight h8, takes on e5, and my opponent takes with the pawn, and now we get into the critical moment of the game, which there is a move that actually gives white a winning position, and there's other fine moves, but yeah, this was the critical moment. And if you want, you can pause the video, try to find the idea or the move. The move, I don't think it's actually hard to see, but the follow-up, it was very hard for me to see during the game. So yeah, I just want to open things up for my bishop, so d6 makes a lot of sense. And this is the move that I actually spent like 35 to 40 minutes looking at it, which is crazy. You should never use that much time just to consider like a move like this that's not even like a forcing mating continuation or forcing winning a piece. Is just like a move. Yeah, I had an advantage on time before this turn, before move 19, which is now, and like I wasted like almost all my time just trying to figure out if d6 worked. And the problem is that I didn't even go for it. I didn't see what I could actually do after c6. I felt like, I mean, there should be something here for white, but I just couldn't see. I couldn't see how I would proceed. And if like I was afraid that I would lose this pawn and I would get nothing for it, because the problem is that I could see that my opponent would easily, target this d6 pawn with knight f7, bishop e8, move this knight, another attacker, and I just couldn't see how I would keep this pawn or create like chaos while my opponent was trying to take the pawn. And yeah, here the move that I missed was b5. b5 is just absolutely stunning, because no matter what black does in response, I will get a fantastic position. Like, let's say, okay, take the free pawn. I mean, just a simple bishop takes on b7, rook b8, bishop d5, let's say knight f7. I don't know, queen b3. Like, this is an amazing position for white. This pawn, even if we end up losing this pawn, we can create so much counterplay um while black tries to capture this pawn back. Like, it's absolute chaos. Let's not dive deep into this, because I mean, we don't need to. But yeah, if my opponent pushes the pawn again, this is even worse now with the bishop here, and I'm ready to go like d7 once this knight moves. So this is even worse. And if my opponent just ignores and tries to capture this d6 pawn, I can just take and like, I mean, yeah, this is just fantastic for me, you know? Now I can even lose the d6 pawn because I'm even up a pawn, and yeah, bishop pair, open position. This is, it almost wins by itself. So yeah, I missed this b5 move, which was very important. So I ended up playing a weaker move, which was queen b3. And yeah, queen b3 is too slow. He's too slow. Now I give time for my opponent to consolidate, and yeah, he plays knight f7. He's going to play knight d6 and blockade this pawn. And now my bishop will never open up. Not soon at all. I play rook bc1. I was feeling bad. I was feeling bad here because after rook c8, like I just couldn't see what I could do. Again, it gives me another chance of playing d6, but because the knight is pinned, he can't actually take the pawn with the knight, so this would be hanging c6, like probably b5 again is very good. So yeah, gives me another chance, but if I didn't see it the first time, I definitely will not see it this time. I ended up playing knight c3 here, and yeah, I just felt like something was getting away from me. Like I felt like the game was getting out of my hands. Like I felt like I no longer wanted this chaos. I wanted more stability, because like I was getting lower on the clock. My opponent was actually had a time advantage on me now, and yeah, I just was stressing out because I felt like things weren't clicking anymore. I felt like I missed something, and that feeling when you miss something in the game and you start losing confidence is horrible. And here my opponent absolutely chokes me with this queen g5 move, which he played super quickly. My opponent was playing quickly, and I just couldn't believe it. Like, what is my opponent doing? Like, did he just did he just hang a piece? Like, immediately after he plays queen g5, I was like, bro, I was like, yo, queen a4, double attack on the bishop and on the knight. Like, I'm winning a piece. What is he doing? But, you know, it took me a lot of time to play actually this move queen a4, which I immediately saw, but it took me a lot of time because like I just thought like this guy this guy is either like the luckiest player alive or is like the biggest genius ever. Because the problem with this, even though I'm winning a piece, it's not so simple because my opponent plays bishop takes on e3, which he played. And after the game I asked him, did you see that I was double attacking the knight on d7 and the bishop on e7 when you played queen g5? And he was like, no, I didn't see it. Like, I got lucky that I had the sacrifice on e3 because I didn't even realize I hanged the pieces. And I was like, oh my god, I was like, I can't believe it, dude. Like, how how, bro? I thought there was no luck involved in chess, was all skill. But bro, if you miss that you hang a piece and you have a fantastic like sacrifice for compensation, is like crazy. But okay, so here I have a big decision actually, and I just couldn't find the best move. I found the second best move. I mean, there's only two moves honestly in this position. Do I take the knight and give up the exchange, or do I take the bishop and I take a free piece? But my opponent gains 2 pawns for the piece. My king is super weak, and I'm low on time. I was already getting low on time, but after this, like I was almost like draining all my time. I think I was below like 15 minutes at this point, and my opponent I think he had like 40 minutes or something like that. But it's been a while, it's been a year, so I'm not 100% sure. But yeah, here I just couldn't bring myself to play the best move, which was queen takes on d7 and sacrifice the exchange like that. And yeah, I'm also like kind of sacrificing this pawn as well. So yeah, um I couldn't evaluate this position as like better for me. I felt like I just didn't know what was going on, honestly. Um And I mean, I just went with a very like cocky reason. I just took on e3 because I thought, I mean, this guy just he just hanged a piece. Like, bro, he's 1700. I'm just gonna be up a piece. I have to defend for a while, but come on, I'm not gonna lose up a piece against 1700. I was thinking like that. I have to be honest with you. Takes the pawn, king h1, knight f6. This position is just absolutely chaos. And who would have thought that the computer just says it's zeros? Of course, the computer always says it's equal, dead equal. The craziest position ever is dead equal. I took on f5 with the rook. He takes on g3 with the queen. My king is completely naked. This is crazy, crazy, crazy. Rook on f3, queen g5, targeting the h5 pawn. I go queen c2. I have to bring the queen back to the defense. Things are starting to get very spicy. Knight h6. This was a weird move by my opponent, actually. I didn't really understand this knight h6 move. I played knight e4, which is the best move. It's actually a fantastic move to force pieces off the board. And after knight takes, queen takes, my opponent plays knight g4, and actually this is completely winning for white. I have a couple of moves that are winning. There's one that's really straightforward. I didn't find it. I found blow to the position, which was bishop h3. This is a killer move for sure, because I'm threatening the knight, and there's no like real like good place for the knight to go. Probably knight f2 is the only move, but after rook takes and rook takes on f2, I can actually just take on e5, and I'm completely winning here, because there's no good way for my opponent to deal with all the threats. You know, if the queen moves from the g7 pawn is made, this rook is still hanging. You know, the bishop can't be captured because I'm threatening the queen, so it would have to go for this endgame. And yeah, this with the bishop pair and still this rook is hanging, I mean, this would be clearly winning for white. I missed this, for sure. I missed this. And I also, a very calm king g1 would also be good enough here. Yeah, I also missed start to make such calm moves, but yeah, this would be fantastic for white. You know, of course my opponent doesn't want to trade queens, but what else do you do? You know, the pawn is hanging, so yeah, I missed this idea. I played rook c2 because I wanted to defend against this f2 fork. Yeah, my opponent took on f3, which is a losing mistake. Again, there's only one capture that's correct. If you want to pause the video and try to find what capture is correct, if it's bishop or the queen. And I go for the incorrect capture, which is the queen takes on f3. This is incorrect because it allows my opponent to bring the last piece into the game with rook f8, and now I'm walking a very tight rope to actually make a draw. This would again be winning because I'm threatening the knight, and my opponent doesn't really have time to move the knight. He would have to take on h5 with check, which feels very, very scary because it feels like I'm just gonna get mated, but there's actually no follow-up check here for my opponent. So yeah, I'm completely winning. There's no way, there's no move he can make to actually save the knight or allow me to trade everything, you know. For example, knight f6, I can just take on h5, and I mean, I'm not afraid of this because I'm up a piece, you know. So yeah, I missed these opportunities that my opponent gave me, a lot of them, And yeah, uh, queen h3, the only move. And yeah, things start getting very scary. My opponent actually plays this fantastic move, which, yeah, it was just so hard to actually deal with this move. And yeah, there's a couple of moves that draw, but they are very hard actually. My opponent is threatening a lot of stuff actually. He's threatening a plethora of things. He's attacking the rook here, which is undefended. He's threatening to, if I move the rook out of, for example, to defend the back rank, he has knight f2 check, picking up the queen. So yeah, I collapsed in this position. I just couldn't find a move, and I ended up losing. I played rook e2, which loses by force. It's mate by force. Um, yeah, unfortunate. My opponent just plays queen b1 check. I block with the bishop, and yeah, it's all over. It's mate in one next after king on f3, and actually lost the game. But here there was a fantastic move. It was bishop takes on e5. Incredible. Giving up the rook because this position is actually just winning for white. The bishops are way stronger than the rook, and yeah, there's no mate, there's no threats for black. Yeah, this would just be winning. It's actually funny. And if knight takes on e5, of course I trade queens. This is fantastic for me. The computer says it's equal, but I mean, I'm never losing this position. So yeah, this bishop sacrifice would actually be very good. Same if he takes here on e5 with the queen. I can just take on g4, and there's nothing at all. I can just actually just walk my king up the board, and yeah, I'm doing fine. So yeah, I just have to grow up and you know and learn how to deal with these moments, hard moments. But yeah, great game. Another than last, like super crazy, super tactical, and hope you guys enjoyed it. And I'll be here for round 4. Bye bye. Take care.